Hey everyone, it's Alex from Mr. Retro Central. I just wanted to, do a bit of a review and just talk and, may have a bit of a game today on the Super Nintendo. Now, I am actually holding the PAL version. Personally, I think the PAL version's just is a lot better than like the American version. Because I don't know, it just looks like a lot better. It uses the old Super Famicom design, and I don't know. Personally, I just think that's more appealing and it has more sex appeal, and I don't know. Just that logo every time I see it, just awesome. Um, yeah. See, a lot of people will see this in Super Famicom, but the difference between the Super Famicom and the original Super Famicom and the original PAL Super Nintendo was the labeling is different. Of course, it says Super Nintendo instead of Super Famicom. The cable length is different. On the controllers, of course, it says it's different. But with the American version, I don't know what they were trying to get at, because the Super Famicom came out, in 1990, and it was like the very first, it was like, I don't know, just I think it was around like 210 American dollars. It was like 25,000 yen. It was like the first like Super Nintendo, and everyone just went crazy. Like, I don't know, the design. I think they sold like 300,000 copies in the first like a few hours, and had orders like shipped. And I even heard as well that they actually had to do shipping on the weekend because their orders were just too extreme. Now, at this time, I think Sega already, which was Sega Genesis was its rivals, they already had their market already open, and they were a bit earlier than the Super Nintendo. But the Super Nintendo pretty much just destroyed them in sales, game library. Like, there's more games. They overall, the Super Nintendo just caught up very quickly and just obliterated Genesis. I don't mind the Sega Genesis, but I would prefer to play Super Nintendo over the Sega Genesis. And with the American one, I think the whole design of it, I don't know, I heard somewhere it was to stop people from putting their drinks on it or something. I don't know. But, I don't know, it's purple. It's just, they had a bit of a weird color scheme. Like, I know the buttons on the Super Nintendo, the American one, they were like purple and pink. And, I don't know, personally I think these candy buttons are, the colors, they're pretty awesome. And you can see my controllers rattles a bit, it's taking a beating. You know you're a true hardcore SNES gamer when your controller shoulders cave in from pressing them. Some like button bashing in Street Fighter and stuff. I don't know, I had my hard punch and hard kick mapped to them, and they stick in. They still work, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, one thing I found very amusing as well with the Super Nintendo when on release, the Yakuza in Japan, it caught their eye and they wanted it, and they had to do extra patrols on shipments and stuff so they wouldn't get robbed. And they'll take all the supplies of Super Nintendo. I found that really funny. But I know in America, I think it got released in 1991 with, of course, the new design. Not this design, the purple design. But I know that like immediately like just boomed straight away. But I knew some people who actually had the Super Famicom and the original design couriered to them from Japan, so they actually had it in America a bit earlier. And I know a few people, they still tell me to this day, when the Super Nintendo first arrived in America and they saw the design and it was different, they just freaked out and they were like, "What the hell?" And I don't know where Nintendo went with it, but thank God that in Europe, in Australasia, and like UK and stuff, they got the PAL version. When they released the PAL version, it used the original Super Famicom design. I don't know, maybe they just didn't like, they got bad feedback from the other design, but yeah, I'm glad that I have this design. So I personally like it a lot better. I know I think the ports on the back are a bit different in expansion port, but yeah, I know the button they click a lot better. Reset button, the eject button. Yeah, it's just I personally like this controller better. I like the controller better as well. I like the colors on it. But the first like the Super Nintendo originally came bundled with Super Mario World, and of course that probably leading the leading game to help Nintendo beat Sega Genesis. And then I know as well. I don't know if it was on launch. You can't take my word for it, but I know F-Zero was one of the very first games to come out as well, and that was a very popular game. It's a pretty awesome racing game. And yeah, I just wanted to just show you guys and maybe play a game or two. So yeah, I'll just get to it. Yeah, I'm gonna play Super Mario World, and I'm just gonna put F-Zero back on the shop. This is like, and I've been collecting for a while, like just all the games which I had in my childhood. Some of them I actually kept through my childhood, and they were still alright. And I just cleaned them up a bit and gave them, refurbished them a little bit. Yeah. The also as well, the PAL cartridges are different. They're smaller. Like you can, I think you can mod your American SNES to play PAL cartridges, but you can't do it. I don't think it's gonna be harder to do it the other way around because the cartridges are bigger and just fits in. I know there's ways to do it, but I personally, I'm fine with just playing PAL games on my PAL SNES. I don't need to mod anything. I'm happy with it. Yeah. Also as well, dust gets in there, and the game doesn't work sometimes. So you gotta be. I remember the days just sitting there blowing into it, and it's awkward. I find it's better to play on a tube TV, like the old box TVs, personally, because the quality compared to like an LCD or a plasma is a lot better, and I personally just like it better on a tube. I find it more crisp, the sound's a bit better, the colours, it's got more like warmth and glow to it, and yeah, I personally just think it's better, and I enjoy it more on there. I've played it on both. The Super Nintendo uses the same, it's like the output on the back for like the audio and video and stuff. They use the same as I think it's a Nintendo 64, and I believe it's the GameCube as well. And I know with the GameCube you could get the composite cables, and you could play HD. I have seen people play Super Nintendos on the HD screen. It's alright, but at the end of the day, the games were made to be played on tube TVs. So people always ask me and on forums and stuff, oh, I want to make my Super Nintendo look nicer when I play it. I want the games to look better. Playing it the way it was meant to be played, I always find it's better than it is if you try and change it and bring other elements into the picture. So I personally, I don't mind, but I personally prefer to play it on a tube TV. I'm just going to check this out. Countless hours playing this game as a child. Yeah. Good memories. Good memories. And yeah. Oh, thanks for watching and happy gaming.